Hello and welcome to Wild Owl TV. It's it's been a while since I've done a garden diary, and do you know, you just got to be in the mood for it. Well, I've had a week's holiday and come back, and I thought, you know, there's so many things to talk about now. So before I go into the garden, I think that the decision to move away from a Facebook page and get this group really sort of just kind of fine-tuned, I think it's been a really good decision. I was getting a little bit to the point where there were so many people on the other page, 800 odd people, that I didn't know. One or two that I felt were maybe not necessarily conducive to a friendly environment, and I just kind of was losing interest in operating in that way. But as always, I wanted to share my experiences, encourage people to share their experiences, and I just didn't feel that page was doing the job. So it was quite a bit of a bold move to just stop it, because I've made that mistake before. But actually, having started the group, and thanks Verity for mentioning the group, because it was just a brilliant idea. It didn't occur to me to make a new group page, but the beauty of it is that I can control who's on it, and that means that we're in a little bit of a closed environment, and we can keep it friendly. The other environment was open doors, and I don't know, there's a few know-it-alls on there that was making me feel a little bit uncomfortable, and I just want to keep it informal, keep it local particularly, yeah, this works much better for me, and I hope it works better for you. And thank you for posting your videos and your photos onto the page. Please keep doing that. I really want you to put your page, because this is for all of us. It's not about me. I mean, I'm hopefully leading the way, but I want really to just know what you're up to, what successes you're having, anything that I mention. Have you done your garden, the woodpecker poles, for instance? You know, some great video that we've had put on. Fran and other people have put videos of their woodpecker poles being used by woodpeckers. The bee houses. Let's just all put it on there. Let's have some fun. Get your cameras out and have some fun. Enjoy your wildlife. If you all do that and engage with the animals in your garden, you really will start to find it's a hugely pleasurable experience, just like I've been doing for a number of years now. So that's that. And well, what else was I going to say? Basically, back home now, thank goodness. There wasn't much to see in Austria, which is why I didn't post an awful lot. Very nice to see a pine marten. That was an absolute surprise. Never expected that. We did go every night to the same place to try and get it, because I only managed to capture it on my mobile phone, which is a bit old, so we only had some sort of grainy film, but unfortunately I didn't see it again, and really I didn't see much over there. I got some alpine chough footage to post, but apart from sparrows and swifts, there wasn't much else to see. Definitely no birds of prey, so that's why I haven't posted a lot. But anyway, we did have a nice time despite a 15-hour return journey. It was a nightmare. So and show you some of what's been going on. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that I actually set the moth trap last night, and I'm going to show you a very, very special moth, and you'll see it just in there. And this is one of our largest, in fact it is our largest native moth. It's a Privet Hawk Moth. Now, this trap is actually going to be full of moths, and all flying out at the moment. Try not to disturb that Privet Hawk Moth. Oh, and there's another one inside actually. I did think that when I got home last night, I thought how beautiful, what a lovely evening it was. Let me just show you this moth. Oops. Right, come on. Look at this. What a beauty. There you go. This is just a stunning insect. So it's called a Privet Hawk Moth. And as I say, it is our largest moth. And I get them in the garden every year. And you can see, if you compare my hand, you can see how large this is. In fact, this individual I'd say is slightly smaller than usual. Now I'm going to pop this moth back over because they like honeysuckles. So I'm going to pop it over here on the honeysuckle. There you go, mate. how about that? You've got to get into moths. Moths are just stunning. Look at that. They really are just stunning insects. I get such a lot of pleasure from moths. And at this time of year, you're mad not to try and attract moths. Let's just turn off my lamp there because the lamp's still on. And I'm wondering whether we've got an elephant hawk moth in here as well. There is going to be all sorts in here. Could be more privet hawks. Look at all these. This was all just turned on last night. There's another species there. And here and here. All sorts. And this is a... I'm a bit rusty on my moths now. Is that a ribbon wave or something like that? Pop them there. Oh, look at these. So many species. Now last year I was recording all of these species and you know, I've just given up. It's such a lot of work. Oh, something's just flown out there. It really is such a lot of work. So some more in here. Oh, some earwigs as well. Look at all these moths. Get yourself a moth trap. This oh dear, there's a bumblebee in there. It's a shame. I'd like to see that. It's unusual. It's the first time I ever have had a bumblebee in the moth trap, and that's probably only the fact that there's more in here. Another one there, looks like an underwing, that one. So these moths will slowly, oh yeah, there's a shame. Don't know quite what's happened there. That bumblebee sadly hasn't survived, it's just a little bit of a casualty. So what I'm going to do, as I say, there is a Privet Hawk Moth in here. There he is, just down inside there. So I'm going to leave that there now, and I'm going to just put some cover over. Now, I have a feeling there could be a nest in here. It wouldn't at all surprise me because little mice are so inventive. I haven't opened this for a while. Oh, that's surprising. I was half expecting a mouse to drop out of here. No, that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop this over there, and that would just protect them until later. Right, so what else has been going on? Well, I've been leaving my grass to grow, and look at this. This is wildflowers that have popped up in the grass. Now, I haven't planted anything. I've even got a poppy in here, which I'm so chuffed about. This is my meadow. Now, it's a garden. You can see where I've cut a pathway through here, and then I've left the meadow here. That's just where Jazz has been temporarily housed while I've been away because she attacked anybody. Hello. So we've got to sort her out later on. And here, look at these teasels. The size of those blimmin' things. They're like triffids. And this one is growing, but this is my wildlife area. Now, earlier on, I lifted this and I discovered a mouse under here. You watch this. There's the mouse's nest, just in there. And he's not in at the moment, but that mouse has obviously made itself at home. I've also got this sheet down, hoping to get a slow worm, but no, but there are ants under there. And again, haven't been here for a couple of weeks. I've been trying to get up to speed with what's been going on. Anybody under there? No, nobody under there. Nobody under here, but there are wood mice around, bank voles. Ratty is left now. I took him over to the common, so he's gone. And yeah, like I say, just trying to keep up really. I felt a bit bad about disturbing the ants when I put in a wildflower meadow, but I put these down and look at these guys. So this is where the ants, well, some ants have moved to. So I'm keeping that covered, trying not to stand on it. So, oh, I've just popped my daisy off, my poppy. That was good Maguire, wasn't it? In here, the badger's been raiding this pot. Of course, as I've not been putting so much food out, Emily has been feeding the badgers while we've been away. It's my stepdaughter. But I only didn't want to put too much on her. There's such a lot of work to do in this garden. I didn't want to put too much on her, so I just gave her the bare minimum to do. My little oak tree, look at this. Oh, I'm so pleased with this oak tree. That's looking good. And, oh, what's that there? There's a solitary bee. I think that's a leafcutter bee there. And I've noticed, talking about leafcutter bees in a moment, but they've been very busy while I've been away. So, very important at the moment to make sure that you can provide water for your birds. Let's see if our slow worm is still around, because I haven't seen him for a little while. Well, he might be somewhere. Did pop up. I didn't see him for a few weeks, and then he did suddenly pop up somewhere. So he might have found a new place to go. And what these, well, that's there for feathers under here. Oh, look at that, a little toad. What a stunner. Oh, I love toads. And he's even got a little bit of duckweed on his back where he's been in the pond. That's just so lovely to see. I actually do have a lot of toads in the garden. Got to just make sure I don't squash you when I put that back down again. So, you're okay. Are you going to squeeze through there, are you? That's okay. Let's just lift that slightly. And he's just gone into the cover of the border. So there are, as I say, lots of toads in the garden this year. Very few frogs. Very worrying what's going on with frogs at the moment. Let's get myself back across here. So this is again sort of wildflowers, which is some of the stuff's going over, but still great to see. I did pollard my tree this year and it's not looking very good, but you know, I don't really care. It doesn't do an awful lot, so I'm not really too fussed about that. And I got my oak tree growing. That'll be millions of years before that gets too big. Here's my wildflower border. So knatweed, I don't know if that's greater or knatweed or just common knatweed, and other wildflowers. These are all grown from seed. The knatweed was actually a plant from Iron Acton Garden Centre, but the rest is actually from seed. So this will all be coming out, so I'm really chuffed about that. Obviously my wood pile's there, and there'll be all sorts of creatures, amphibians and even mice in the wood pile. The butterfly garden, well, of course we've got the flower meadow here again, and we've got some clover in amongst there and other things. I'm going to put some seed in this year, but in the actual main garden here, as you can see, there's verbena, there's Ericium wallflowers, we've got Michaelmas daisy, and I'm trying to think what all these plants are now. Veronica, is that? Something like that. And another knatweed. Really, just for me, this has really come on. Unfortunately, I do have a problem with bindweed in the garden, but again, just seeing the odd poppy popping, that's just lovely. And again here, wildflower area. So it's really all about wildflowers now. I've given up trying to buy so-called friendly, wildlife friendly plants that are, you know, scabious and things like that. They just don't survive. Do you spot that there? Oops. What do we got here? Damselfly. Look at this fella. It's just wonderful. Just so lovely. These insects know where to go, and when you've got wildflowers everywhere, you really almost guarantee that you're going to be attracting wildlife. And look what we've been having since I've been away. This is leafcutter bees. Now the annoying thing is, this house is specifically designed for looking at what the bees have been doing, but they've gone into the top row, so I'm hoping they'll go down to the next row. And they've also been busy over here as well. And there must be a few of them, because look, this is all new activities. One there, activity there, and here. These are all leafcutter bees, all these green leaves. So this has all been happening this last week when I've been away, and here again. But as I say, currently, that's your old red mason bee. So that's Oh, there's bees in there, isn't there? Yeah, there's new bees. Or was it no, pupa in there? But look, leaf cutters seem to like these Wildlife World SBH2 products. So they're not using, it's interesting, they're not really going into these Morrisons. Look, a lot of the Morrisons are empty. And yet, they're using that one, and they're using that one, and the Wildlife World one there. Something, you know, this is about, comes down to quality. This type of box, 25 quid, 25, 30 pounds. These, £4. So yeah, you know, the red masons have gone in there, lots of red masons this year. So this is really good for me because as I've mentioned before, I've lost a lot of my bee communities because I've given away these products. That's been knocking my own sort of bee populations in the garden, but they're now slowly recovering. And then of course we have here then a wildflower area again, and one or two other, that's a bulb here, I forget what that's called now, I will think of it in a moment. And I do have some roses in here. This is I think this is a Gilder rose or possibly a dog rose. Oh, and this is rose as well, so I need to start to support some of these roses. This is like a natural hedge that I'm putting in. This is a prickly rose, but this is great because this will slowly start to give me some cover. And the other thing I did, of course, every year I put out nasturtiums. Now, I didn't ask anybody to water my flowers while we were gone. They've taken a bit of a hammering, but again, these poor little things. These are cosmos. Jay Dwyer had the best of my cosmos, but that's fine. These have been okay. This is again just oddments here, but yeah, really nice to see so many flowers in the garden. Brilliant time of year. It's going to attract all sorts of butterflies, and not forgetting, of course, that the pond is also going to be attracting things. Now, I haven't looked around the pond yet. Oh, there you go. We've got a ladybird there. It's like a harlequin ladybird. We've got a hoverfly just in here. Oh, and there we go. Is that a blue-tailed damselfly? Look at this. It's just so important to have a pond in your garden. Even a small pond, it makes a huge difference to attracting wildlife. It really does. And again, I've not looked to see if there's any dragonfly larvae that have climbed up the stalks of these yellow flag iris, excuvia I think they call them. There you go, there's your damselfly there. And I'm having to top the pond up because it was very low. But of course, in the pond itself, we do have lots of fish. So, such is the nature of the wonderful GoPro cameras. Let me just show you what's going on underneath the surface. I'm just going to choose a spot. Oh, I see one. Okay. About that then. So as far as I can see, you get some close-up views of sticklebacks there. So as I say, all sorts going on. So I've got to go and do some shopping now because we've got no food in the house. Clean this screen. There you go. So I hope you enjoyed that. Just a little bit of a garden roundup. And now I'm back. I'll try and post some more updates and videos and that. But don't forget that with this new group idea, you can post your pictures and video, and that's something I really want to encourage, because I'm a very busy man, and I try and do things, but there's times when I just don't feel like it, if I'm honest with you. And it's great that all of you, some of you now, are beginning to post things. Don't forget, this now is very much a page for South Gloucestershire. This is where I live. It's the community that means a lot to me, and that's another reason for just paring this group down from 800 odd to just over about 150, is it now? But there's still a lot of people, I'm sure, that would enjoy coming on to this this little forum that we've got for our community. So get your friends on here. Let's start sharing our wildlife stories, sharing our knowledge, and let's build up knowledge and build up wildlife in Yatecham, Sodbury, Winterbourne, Thornbury, wherever it is that we're looking. Of course, there are certain people that live outside of South Gloss that are very welcome to be on here, and it's not that I have a problem in Bristol. I just think that it's just nice to think that what I'm talking to you about and can relate to sort of local landmarks and local community things. It's all relevant to where I live, so that's purely what it is. It just keeps it, for me, keeps it focused, and that I think is important, and that way I can really make sure that we're getting the best value from this idea. I don't want thousands and thousands of people on this forum. You know, these national pages, just all they do is attract a load of know-it-alls and a load of people that start challenging ideas. I'm not trying to tell people what to do. I'm trying to share knowledge and trying to encourage people to do some positive things. So the minute anybody starts getting argumentative or gets a bit cocky, I'm sorry, but delete. I'm not interested in the stress, and I think that suits all of us, doesn't it? So once again, I'm going to finish now. Hope you enjoyed that, and speak to you soon on Wild Owl, local community forum. I don't know what we called it now, but whatever it is, I'll speak to you soon. Bye.